Hi guys, welcome to Investing with GYK, and it's been a long time since I last uploaded. Um, I think I last uploaded when I came back to China in, I forgot actually. But anyways, just thought I would share some of my observations and thoughts on China. So the elephant in the room is that China has opened up. The zero COVID policy was lifted, and things basically happen as everybody would have expected. A bunch of people would have died, especially older people, and economy is coming back. Whether the economy is coming back fully is something that I would like to discuss later. So on the topic of casualty, we basically went through a whole wave that covered probably about like 80 or 90% of the population, if my personal experience is anything to go by. So let's say about 1 billion people has been infected. That includes me. And if we take the Hong Kong death rate of about 0.6, that translates about 6 million deaths. So that's quite a few people. But on the other hand, we have observed very stark contrast between days of middle of December or even late December and now. In middle of December, everybody's getting sick and everybody was not going out. So we went out to a mall with a few friends, and the mall was empty. The parking lot is empty. And then I went to Shanghai, I think in 26th. 26th of December. The malls were empty too. And by the time I came back from US, which was like 4th of January or 5th of January, the malls were packed with people again, and we were having trouble finding parking spots by the end of, I would like to say something like 16th or 17th of January. The thing was packed. Okay, so does that mean economy has fully returned to normal? I wouldn't say so, because here are some numbers I would like to share. So there's a phenomenon called twinning, which literally translates to spring transportation or like spring migration. Essentially, the entire population would move back to where they came from, and then by the end of it, they would come back to where they work, right? So migrant workers, basically. I would say maybe like 60 or 70% of the Chinese population are made out of migrant workers, if not more. Okay, so let's look at the numbers published by the Transportation and Communication Department, whatever. I don't know how to translate that, but the government. So on the 14th day of spring migration, which is the 20th of January, the combined number of all methods of transportation, which includes rail, road, which is public road, like long distance public transport, long distance coaches, basically, waterways, and civil aviation, is down 46% compared to 2019. And what's funnier, it's actually up 53% from 2022. Okay, so even though it's half, of what it was before the COVID. It was 50% better than 2022. And mind you, things were not at their grimmest at the beginning of 2022. It was bad, but it wasn't shit. It went to shit in April when Shanghai was locked down, and then in the summer, like most cities are locked down, the whole thing is fucked up. So, well, that calls into question the 3% GDP increase number. I don't think that's even possible because everybody's fucking locked down. But regardless, according to official numbers, we're 53% up. So that tells you how shit 2022 was in China. It is when shit hits a fan, it went everywhere. Everything was fucked up. We had people that traveled to Xinjiang for leisure, and then they got stuck there for 3 months straight, and they ended up having employment there. So they were picking fruits because you were not allowed to leave Xinjiang because Xinjiang was fucked up by COVID. So yeah, and by November, people died in Xinjiang, a few of them because of a fire, and then the rumor has it their doors were soldered. Yeah, they had iron bars soldered onto their onto their actual apartment doors. So that's and then if your door is fucking ironed, sorry, not ironed, meant soldered on, then when there is a fire, you're gonna die. So a bunch of people died there, and then there was a huge protest, and all of a sudden they said, okay, fuck it, we will get rid of the zero COVID, everybody just go. Which was pretty surreal at that point because we were under the constant threat of being locked up in our rooms, but we weren't anymore. But at the same time, there was no medication. We're not talking about Paxlovid or mRNA vaccines. We're just talking about ibuprofen or paracetamol. We don't have any of those because in the past 3 years, if you were to purchase these medicines, you would be forcibly taken to have PCR done because they suspect that you actually got a fever, and you might have a fever due to COVID, and you might be taken to one of those makeshift hospitals, and in which they don't do anything, you just stay there. So nobody was buying paracetamol, and which means all these medicine with all the drugs were expiring, so the drugstores weren't carrying as much of them, the producers weren't producing much of them, and when we used to, in the normal days, everybody would have some of those at home, so if you actually got sick, you just take some paracetamol, but by the end of the 3 years, all the paracetamol has expired. So yeah, at the beginning of the opening up, paracetamol was some pretty precious commodity. So that was quite a shit show. But yeah, going back to number of passengers. Sorry for the huge rant. To be more specific, on rail, the number of passengers was down 35%, but that's just one day, right? So I'll look up the other days. For example, let's say the first day of... Wait, where was that? Okay, the first day. First day of spring migration. Total number down 46%. Increase compared to 2022 is 48%. And rail was down 27% compared to 2019, and up 36% compared to 2022. Road long distance coaches basically down 50% compared to 2019 and up 52% compared to 2022. Waterways down 63%, but waterways doesn't really matter. They only have like 1 million people that's transported in this manner, so it doesn't matter. Civil aviation down 40%, sorry, 39% compared to 2019, up 30% from 2022. And that is actually a pattern. So if you even look at the January 20th, rail is down 12% compared to 2019. Long distance coaches 52%, and civil aviation down 25%. But there is a silver lining. Highway number of cars on highways actually went up 15% compared to 2019, and that's on January 20th, right? So on January 9th, number of cars went up 12%. So that gives me a bit of confidence in stock picking. After all, this is a stock picking channel. Yeah, so Chinese expressways, they were really, like, especially towards the end of 2022, getting off an expressway is it's an ordeal. You have to get PCR taken. Imagine that, getting off an expressway, you have to line up and have people swab your nose and throat. Imagine the lines, right? And that's just for passenger car traveling, but imagine that for trucks. So there were trucks that literally got stuck on the highway and they couldn't get off, and the stuff that they were transporting, for example, fresh vegetables and meat, they would spoil. So yeah, but all of that is gone now. So we should end up with a huge rebound there. And the other one that I think is going to do pretty well is airports. So those, especially the ones that had a lot of international travel. International travel was basically down to like 5% for the entire 3 years since COVID started. And since the ban has been lifted, I think we should see international travel picking back up, and that's what generates most revenue. Okay, so there's a term, I think it's called terminal luminescence or something, terminal lucidity or something, terminal lucidity. Yeah, I think we're the Chinese economy is at that stage. So you can make some money here for, I think, this year, but next year is going to be shit again because a lot of debts coming due. The whole thing is collapsing. Local government is now unable to afford their debts because usually their revenue comes from selling land, but this place just had a real estate mini crash, and they weren't able to sell any land. Not any, but it's like down 50%. If your major revenue stream is down 50%, then yeah, you're fucked. And the central government just came out a few days ago saying we're not gonna bail you out. Their own words were everybody should care for their own babies, but it's just a Chinese saying. But it's the same thing. Basically, we're not gonna bail you out, so we're looking at a bunch of debt explosions. But probably not this year because there's going to be some pent up demand somewhere, and there will be some pent up investment this year too. So once that's gone, with the global economy going bad, this is going to be extra bad. Yeah, so that's all from me today, and if you have any questions, I'll be here for another minute. If not, I'll just end the stream. Thank you all for watching me rant, that is. Okay, seems there's no questions. See you guys all. Bye bye. Oh, any conversations going forward? Yes, some comments. With like sympathies between dictators, so that's what's happening, and Putin's clearly losing, so China clearly wants to help but can't. Otherwise, we get even more sanctions. We already have sanctions on things that we care most, like chips. Oh, there's another funny thing. The push to build chips here in the push here in China to build our own chips has stopped. Funny. The top 6 guys, all of the 6 guys on top, who's in charge of what they call the big fund, they all got arrested on charges of what do you call that? Corruption. You wouldn't have guessed, would you? So yeah, that's gone, and so China's not playing soft with the West compared to last year. Do you have any thoughts on China Everbright? Everbright is fucked. It's gone. It's dead. There's no way it comes back. It owes too much. It basically has imploded. The Chinese government is going to bail out the ones that's still alive, but as for the ones that's already dead, they're dead. So the Everbright is fucked. There was another one called Rongchuang. I forgot what the English name is. Sonac or something. And there was another guy another 3 that were pretty big that went bust. So those are all gone. Their assets will be selectively picked off, but as a company, as shareholder, that's the end of it. Conditions for international, yeah, they're all get kicked out, but maybe not within the next year, but eventually they will all get kicked out. It's just going back to the days when China has no relationship with the outside. It's pretty sad, but yeah. And we don't even want to buy Paxlovid. It's crazy. We don't even want to buy Paxlovid. They'd rather them just die. And no mRNA vaccines too. We had shitty vaccines that apparently, I'm not sure that's true, but apparently that causes I don't even know the name in English. It causes your lungs to develop shadows under CT scans, which is not a good thing. I think it's called fibrosis. Yes, pulmonary fibrosis, local fibrosis. That's what the vaccines does to us. I've taken the vaccine too, so my annual check is coming in February. So let's see how many little spots I have. All right, thank you all. Good day or goodbye or good night. It's 3 a.m. for me, so.